y'all, my name is Kira Andersen, and I'm super excited to share with you that I'm starting a podcast called Yes, We Can. So I've decided to launch this podcast to share my story in hopes that you can relate to some of the things that I've been through. Unfortunately, I've had some traumatic events happen in my life, starting with childhood. My parents divorced when I was very, very young, all the way up until most recently, where I lost my husband at the age of 47 to stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He and I have 3 children together, 7, 5, and 3 now. And we've been through a lot. So through my trials and tribulations, I've met a lot of really incredible people, and I cannot wait to have them on to share their stories as well. So right here, as I sit here with you, I am a 39-year-old woman, about to be 40 years old. I find myself solo parenting and a widow, something that I never, ever thought I would have to say. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, my husband had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He was diagnosed October of 2021, and he lived 17 months, passed away April 3rd of 2023. That completely changed my life, our life, in every single aspect. People used to joke that I looked at life through rose-colored lenses. And, through what I've been through, I've always really tried to be positive and look at the positive things in life and encourage others to do the same. But we got knocked down. That stage 4 cancer diagnosis knocked us down. And so I cannot wait to share with you more about our story and how we came through the horrible battle, and now hopefully are changing lives for the better in my husband's name. So he got diagnosed after a whole year of feeling ill, stomach pain. He had a family doctor tell him it was something to do with his microbiome or some sort of GI upset, and it turns out it was pancreatic cancer growing in his stomach. And so finally, one evening, I had had enough. He had had enough. He got really sick. We went to the emergency room the next day. They did a scan, and it revealed that he had tumors on his pancreas, his liver. There were some spots on his lungs and all over his perineum, which is basically the front side of his stomach. At the time, my children were 4, 2, and 11 months. The very last thing we ever thought that was going to come out of that doctor's mouth was, "We think you have cancer." On the way to the hospital, actually, when I was taking my husband to the ER, he looked at me and asked if I thought perhaps he had stomach cancer. I said to him, there's no way, it's cancer. There's no way. But after that morning, we learned something very differently than what we went into that hospital thinking. And so from that point on, my husband endured 32 rounds of chemotherapy. He had over 67 infusions. He was hospitalized almost a dozen times. He had 10 different blood transfusions. He ultimately, after 5 months of standard of care treatment, got an experimental treatment that his oncologist here in St. Louis at Siteman Cancer Center had been working on in a lab for many years. Unfortunately, it was waiting for funding, which is why it wasn't in patients by the time my husband got diagnosed. However, we were able to receive compassionate use, so my husband was able to get that treatment, and it gave him another 12 months of life. A whole year for us to spend with him. We were able to take our children to Disneyland. We were able to see our nephew, who was drafted in the 2nd round to the NFL, play his first rookie season with the Atlanta Falcons, and made as many possible memories as we could before he took his last breath in April of 23. So that was absolutely a life-changing event for all of us. My children now are going to grow up without their father. And again, myself, a solo parent, which I never, ever thought that would be the case. And so through that, I've really decided to continue Kyle's legacy. He really made a difference in a lot of people's lives. And so we started a fund to raise money to help support a phase 1 study of that medication. We've raised almost $1 million. We have about $2 million to go. because it takes about $3 million to get a phase 1 study from lab into patients. And so that is one of my missions right now, is to help others get the treatment they need. And if this drug and treatment works for pancreatic cancer, the likelihood is that it's going to work for many other cancers as well. Other GI cancers, some brain surgeons are looking at it. We're hoping to keep Kyle's legacy alive through that fund and helping others. So the reason I wanted to start this podcast is because of all the things that I've been through and the many other people in my lives who have opened up and been vulnerable, what we've all been through. I feel as though both my story and all of their stories hopefully can be relatable and inspiring to you and many others. We all have tragic things, curveballs thrown at us in life. Some appear to be more blatant and obvious and traumatic than others, but at the end of the day, life isn't perfect for anybody. And illness, sickness, especially cancer, affects all of us in one way or another. So, I wanted to start this podcast to give you a voice as well. All of those of you who are listening, who subscribe, I want to give you guys a voice too, because life just isn't always what we expect it to be. And I think if we're all fair and honest and vulnerable, there's a lot of things that we all have in common. And so that is why I'm wanting to start the Yes We Can podcast, because I truly do believe that, we can move mountains together. A lot of times people think, I can't do something. There's no way that will happen by themselves, but together we can make a difference. And so that is the main reason I'm starting this podcast. I have some incredible people already scheduled to come on this podcast with me here to share their stories. I have some cancer survivors. I have some parents or family members of people who have lost their battle to cancer. I also have an incredible couple who started their own business and is doing amazing, who went through some trials and tribulations in their marriage. I have them coming on. I also have some people in recovery, some people who have hit rock bottom and then now are doing amazing work. And so I hope through these stories and through these other people that you are able to relate, and it does give you hope that there is more and the best is yet to come. And we truly have to believe that from the inside out for that to happen. So one thing I've done is started a team for Pedal the Cause, which is an organization here that donates every last dollar to Siteman Cancer Center, which is where my husband was treated. It's also one of the top 3 cancer hospitals in our country. Pedal the Cause is a fabulous event where everyone comes together to either ride a bike or ride a spin bike and ride in honor of those who have either lost their lives to cancer or are currently battling. I joined last year and created a Team Kyle. We raised $300,000 in just a few months. Again, every last dollar going to Siteman Cancer Center and the research that's happening there, the incredibly important research that's happening at Siteman. So next week, I'm going to have the head of Pedal the Cause on, David Dreyer, and he and I are going to talk about our stories and how cancer has affected our life. David lost his daughter to a brain cancer, which is terrible. It's actually her birthday. The day that we are recording is her birthday. And we're going to share with you just why and how turning pain into purpose can help others in the name of our lost loved ones. So be looking forward to that episode coming next week with David Dreyer.